Well, hello everyone and welcome to this video. This video is probably going to be not the best, positive video I've ever released because it's on the state of Destiny 2 and Bungie as a whole, and I have some opinions that I feel like I would want to share with you guys. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, I don't know. I was hoping to start a conversation with people in the comments if you also have opinions on the game. Just for reference, I'm someone who's played Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 together. I've played Halo and stuff like that, and I've also recently played a bit of the Marathon playtest. So I've played the series of Destiny for over a decade now, over 10 years, and there's a lot of things on my mind in terms of the direction that Destiny is headed to, the things that Bungie is doing, and I'm kind of confused. I guess we'll start with what's happened with Destiny 2 right now, and that's the fact that there's going to be this big 3-month delay until June for the next major DLC or something like that. Well, I don't know if it's even free content as well, but they announced it and it was at a very bad time. People were not getting content for a month, and then we waited and waited, and then they finally said something, and they said, well, we're actually going to push back the content even further, and we're going to make you guys wait even further. And that was just so frustrating to hear, because there's nothing to really do in Destiny right now. And it's a really annoying thing to hear. And I have a lot of opinions on the portal specifically. I personally think it was a horrible design choice. And I'll get onto that very quickly, but yeah, there's been a 3-month delay, and the player numbers are pretty damn low. I think last time I checked, they were on like 5k or around there, which is goddamn horrible. But yeah, game's not doing too great right now. But let's go into the portal. Boy oh boy, I do not like the portal. I think it was probably another reason why the game isn't doing so well. And aside from the fact that Final Shape finished, and that's where a lot of people quit, for someone who's still playing Destiny 2, I literally hate the portal. I hate it so much. I hate the fact that they got rid of the whole destination system. The whole point of destinations was you get to see the planet you're going to, you get to see the visuals, you like it, and then you can pick certain missions or strikes or whatever on that planet. Clean UI, it all made sense. Then they introduced the portal for some reason. I don't know why. They made the UI look less interesting. It just looked plain and boring. And then they completely scrapped destinations, only for them to reintroduce it because people were so negative about it. But they basically forgot about destinations, so now you're stuck with a boring little portal screen, which they're going to keep pushing forwards for another few months or however long Destiny 2 stays around for. My issue with the portal is, why the hell did they not let the community get involved on this? Why did they just say, hey look, we're going to introduce something like next month, and you guys have no say-so in it? That doesn't make any sense in any sort of way. Why are you not letting the community get involved in a game design that could potentially literally shift the game for a few months? Because you're changing something really big, which is the destinations, and you're changing it to this portal system. And the portal system is horrible, by the way. Aside from the thing looking so bland, tell me why I can't use any of my old gear to try and get a better power level in the grading system that they do. Why do I have to specifically use new gear to be able to get that A+ or A ranking when my old gear is better and I enjoy using the old gear more? You're restricting me to using the new gear, which is mostly dog shit. There's maybe the pulse rifle and then the PvP hand cannon, which is good. 2 out of like the 10 weapons that you can get in the portal, and that's it. And the armor is at best mostly mid. You might have a few 1 or 2 sets that are good, but aside from that, it's all trash. And that's literally all the portal is. You get a little bit of gear that's mid at best. I'll be honest, most of the gear from the portal is mid at best, and that's all the content that you're getting. I mean, they introduced renegades, which was nice, I guess, if you wanted a lightsaber and stuff like that. Edge of Fate was mid. They introduced that ball system where you can travel around. No one liked that shit at all. And that was horrible. Final Shape was good. Lightfall, we don't have to speak too much on that. I mean, they introduced Strand, but everyone kind of hated the DLC. And that was the worst point, because I'm pretty sure that was when the game had one of the highest player peaks of all time. And it was during Lightfall, which was just a horrible thing to see. At some point, we also had sunsetting. Once again, why the fuck was this introduced? Not a single thing about the community getting involved in this, saying, hey, guys, we're gonna introduce sunsetting. This is how it's gonna work. Do you guys like it? None of that shit, just literally implemented it. And what do you know? A few months later, everything fucked up and everything backfired. And I think the major lesson to be learned is to get the community involved more, because these are the exact same people who are playing your game consistently every single day. They know your product probably better than you do. Why don't you want them to be a part of the decision making? I understand the corporate people at the top just want profit and stuff like that. They don't really care about the game as much whatsoever. But you also need to appease the community. And probably if you listen to your community and make them happy, they're probably going to buy more shit from you. And then you're going to make more profit, and then you'll make the corporate people happy. I don't know, that's just a suggestion, but who am I? I think another major hot take I have is I think seasons really ruined gaming as a whole. Season passes, things like that. Guys, season passes originated from I think H1Z1, PUBG, then Fortnite, Apex, and then it came over to other games like Destiny. For some reason, I literally have no idea why. It was such a bad decision. Seasons, given not all of them were bad, but majority of them were horrible, seasons don't work in Destiny for a few reasons. First of all, it's not a battle royale. Let's just get that straight. Seasons mainly worked the best in battle royale games because they didn't have any other sort of content that you could play. In Destiny, you have the major expansions, the DLCs, the raids, the dungeons, that sort of stuff. That is content. That is part of the DLC. The season pass introduced a few good stories here and there. My favorite personally was in Season of Opulence when you had the Menagerie, but that was back then. Now you can't play it. What do you know? Because it's gone, it's sunset, whatever. And then you obviously had a few Hive stories that were good here and there, but the rest of them were kind of mid, to be honest. And that's where a lot of the resources are going into. They put a lot of resources into these seasons, they're mid at best, and then no one really buys it, and Bungie doesn't really make a profit from it. I personally think if we return to the DLC format, at least we would get bigger expansions that have way more content and would be way more enjoyable, because a lot of time and resources would be going into those DLCs. We wouldn't be getting another Lightfall situation. We would be probably getting a Forsaken or Taken King situation literally every single year, because that's the sort of effort I would be expecting Bungie to be going into with these DLCs. But because there is season passes and seasons coming out, well, now they have to split their resources into making the seasonal story good, which here and there they can be successful, but that's something to argue. And then the DLC comes out and it's kind of mid. What happened to Edge of Fate? Well, we'll just let that story settle there. They said they didn't have much creativity because obviously the final shape happened and the big bad was killed. I honestly don't know what the best move forward for Bungie in terms of story to go. I don't know if it's better to remaster Destiny 1. I think I saw a few people want to come back into Destiny 1, and I myself I might record a few videos on that. But I'm curious if it would be a good idea to remaster Destiny 1 or remake Destiny 1. I don't think that would take a lot of time and effort to honestly do, I mean, you could easily increase the frame rates, maybe add vaulting to the game, and then just increase the graphics here and there, but that's literally it. I think everything else is completely fine. But that's probably a decision that's not going to happen anyway, so I'm just coping for the sake of coping because I miss Destiny 1. And there's nothing we can really do about it. In terms of the story going forwards, I don't know what exactly they're going to do. I don't really much care for the story because for the most part I never buy the DLC anyway. I'm mainly playing the PvP, whatever free content they make, the strikes here and there, the nightfalls. I will say the nightfalls they've done, the Grandmaster nightfalls during like COVID, those were pretty peak times for Destiny, I must say, for night in terms of nightfall. Grinding palindrome, literally when COVID happened, and like I was in my school live call, I would literally just mute myself, hide the camera, and literally just play Destiny 2 Nightfall, getting the palindrome. It was crazy times back then during COVID. But that's when I think PvE was at its most peak. In terms of like PvP, this is going to go way back. If you guys played during the time of like Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten, Redrix's Claymore or Broadsword, that was peak. That was peak PvP for me. Competitive was arguably at its best. Everyone wanted to get the best guns, like Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten, and it just made grinding PvP so much more fun and intense. And now we don't really get that feeling because either all the loot is handed to you, or you don't really need to grind to flawless in Trials of Osiris to get the shiny weapons and stuff like that. You can literally get it after playing a few rounds and winning a few games. That's it. So I feel like Trials has lost its meaning. It's no longer the same as it once was. The loot system is, once again, not the same as it once was. And we've gone through like so many different loot systems that I feel like have just made the game worse as well. We went from the typical RNG way, where you grind an activity, you probably get like a 1 out of 5 god roll, and then you redo the activity and hope you get it better. You grind it, right? Then I think in Witch Queen they introduced crafting, where you could get weapon patterns and then craft a weapon, which kind of ruined the game a little bit for me. I understand Witch Queen was a good DLC overall, but it kind of lost the meaning of what Destiny once was, which was to grind RNG based activities and try and get good weapons. With crafting, it kind of made that fire that Destiny once had go away, because you could get the 5 out of 5 god roll by literally getting the weapon patterns and then crafting it. So I mean, that's my take on it. I'm sure people would vouch for crafting, but I mean, the damage is already done, so you can still get your opinion on that. But anyway, then they introduced enhancing weapons. I don't know when they did that. I think it was maybe around the time of Final Shape or something like that, where you could, if your weapon, I think, was a red border, or if it was part of a new content, then you could enhance that weapon's perks to make it stronger. And then later in Edge of Fate, they introduced tiered loot, where now all the shit you grinded for is pointless, because now you have to regrind everything from tier 1s to tier 2s to tier 3s to tier 4s, and then finally tier 5s, which are obviously the most powerful and the best versions of the gun you need to use and go for. To get the tier 5s though, you need to grind to max power pretty much, which is around 450. I mean, at 450 you can get a few tier 5s here and there, so we'll say 450. Starting from level 0, if you started from Edge of Fate and you were grinding, boy, that was a nightmare. Jesus. Grinding from Edge of Fate to try and get to 450 power was horrible. I literally had to take a break from the game because I just couldn't force myself to grind that much. And it was just, it wasn't fun for me. Like, it was just such a poorly implemented system and poorly done design to be able to grind up to 450 to be able to get the tier 5 loot. I mean, grinding up now isn't as bad as it used to be. I still hate it, but once again, the damage is already done. They couldn't think of a... I don't know if they playtest their systems or what. They always implement designs and they always go shit. Like, bro, please playtest your game. Or get people who are with the community to playtest the game for you, and then they will give your opinion and criticism on it. I don't know why this shit gets released and it's horrible day one. Why can't you just playtest it and then have something at least normal come out day one? Why does it always have to be bugged or some shit? Look, just minor complaint, don't worry about me. But I mean, in terms of the future of the game, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm always coping and hoping. I personally, I don't know what they could do with Destiny 3. I don't know, because they would probably lean into the story too much. But I don't know if there is any story left to tell. But I'm sure the lore people who do all the lore for the game can maybe look at some potential ideas for the story, the direction the story can go. I think a lot of people would like a Destiny 1 to be remastered or remade, I think. It would still be obviously the classical Destiny, where it didn't have too much, but it was still enjoyable. Movement wasn't so complex, where you could do like strafing and stuff like that. And I understand the game might be a bit slow for people, and that's kind of Destiny. The OG Destiny has its disadvantages here and there. And Destiny 2 also has its disadvantages here and there. But I think remaking or remastering OG Destiny, just to make it like not lag, have a higher FPS, and things like that, would literally help us survive for that little bit longer, to maybe help them develop Destiny 3, or at least bring out DLCs that are actually good for once. In hopes that Destiny succeeds as a title. I don't know exactly the route and direction that they're going to go, but I miss the OG Destiny. If you never played OG Destiny, I feel for you, because it was, if you played in the golden era, oh man, that was peak time. Obviously Destiny 2 has had its moments, for, well, mainly Forsaken and Season of Opulence, but for the most part it's kind of been a downhill struggle for Destiny 2, and I guess I'm sinking on the ship with all the other copers who are hoping that the game turns around somehow, but I don't know. And I guess we talk about the direction they've gone with Marathon. Obviously I'm disappointed that we didn't get a Destiny 3 and stuff like that, and that they split resources to work on Marathon, and I think it brought 80k or somewhere around 80k on its first day, which isn't over 100k, and I'm not exactly sure if the numbers are going to go up. I'll have a check at the Steam charts after this video, but I'm guessing the game is probably gonna decrease its number a little bit. It's probably gonna drop to like 70k, maybe 60k after a month. Maybe it might drop even worse, I don't know. But if it keeps dropping and it gets worse and worse, I think that's it for Bungie. I really don't think there's anything to it. I mean, Marathon, super niche game. I have my thoughts on Marathon, and I'll probably make another video on it, but obviously Marathon didn't get the best reception possible. I feel like there's only two sides to Marathon. Either you really liked it, or you really hated it. And for the most part, most of the people are really negative about it, and I have my opinions on that, but I'll talk about that later. But the point is, resources were split. They had less time to focus on Destiny 2, which was sort of, I want to say, the main driver of Bungie. I don't know if all the 2.4 billion went specifically into making Marathon, or if it was aided in Destiny 2. I don't know the specifics of it, but the point is resources were split and it took focus off of Destiny 2, and here we are now. So that was the entire video. I know it wasn't exactly the best video I've ever made, and I'm just sort of ranting and complaining here and there, but I played the game for over 10 years, the entire series, and this is just something that I've had at the back of my mind. Obviously, I know some people will probably agree and disagree here and there, but you can't argue the state of the game right now is just awful. Waiting 3 months. I don't like it when a game forces you to take breaks, because that's not how you engage with the community, to get them to take a huge ass break from your game. Because after that, you have a chance of not getting that person back into your game because they've quit for so long and now they're never going to come back. Unless you bring something that's going to be exciting that might be worth it. And right now, there is no excitement in this game whatsoever. I've recently got into raids and stuff like that, but that's only because I'm playing with my friends. If I was playing solo, bro, I would not survive in this game because I would just be unexcited. I would just not be happy whatsoever. That's kind of the point, but at least my friends are helping me keep pushing, playing this game, playing with raids. It's fun. We're trying to get the exotics and stuff like that. And I've made a few videos if you want to check them out on the channel. But thank you guys if you've managed to stick through to the very end. Thank you for sticking through. While you're here, why not like and sub? It helps me out, grow the channel a little bit more. And I would love to hear some discussion in the comments. Maybe we could talk a bit about sort of the direction of Bungie, what parts you agree, disagree with it, and so forth. But yeah, that was the end of the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.